everybody, it's Anna J. Wallner with the Author Library, and today I am honored to have on the show Laura Thompson. Laura, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Laura Thompson. As Anna said, I am an author of both fantasy and YA coming of age drama, I would say. So under two different pen names, and we'll talk about that later on when we show the books. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I'm really intrigued by the first book, Freak or Unique, because it is an amazingly touching story about what it's like for a young girl named Amity to overcome the difficulties of epilepsy. And it's a truly very, if you've never experienced it, or if you have experienced it, it's something that would make you feel very kind of out of place or self-conscious. And it's all about accepting yourself. And I think it's just a fantastic book. So
thank you.
So thank you for writing something like that I think there are a lot of people out there, especially young girls or young people, boys and girls, who may be going through something difficult like that and find comfort in reading a book and knowing that they're not alone.
I hope so. That's my hope for the series. So this is the first in the series. And as you said, it's a story about a young girl who is diagnosed with epilepsy at 12 years old, tender age of 12 years old. So right in that tween hard age, right? Where there's so much going on, so much change anyway. And then to throw this on top of it, it was a lot. And it's honestly based on true story, my true story. I was diagnosed with epilepsy. I had a grand mal seizure on Christmas morning. It was my very first one. I spent Christmas in the hospital. So obviously some of the details and a lot of the characters are imagined, the side characters. But Amity is very much myself, and a lot of what she goes through, especially her feelings about things, were my feelings at the time. So it was a difficult book to write, honestly. It took me quite a few years to actually finish it, get all the way through it. I started it, I want to say in 2015, wrote a few chapters, and then I just couldn't at the time. I wasn't ready to face all those memories again and feel all those feelings. So I put it away. I wrote my fantasy stuff, and then I came back to it when I was ready. And I think it came out well. I think, taking that break to really focus through those feelings was a good thing, because it made me more excited to share it at the end. And I feel like that's the hope for this whole series, is each book is focused on a different struggle for a different student, a different kid, and they all go through their own things, but they're all very similar in that they are able to overcome those things and be okay with themselves, being themselves at the end. So,
and then having more sympathy for other, learning to have sympathy for other people who have maybe not the same condition, but a different issue. I know you talk about that there's a lot of personal inspiration for this story. It's so difficult to grow up with a condition that you can't control. For me, it was anxiety and panic attacks. So I completely identify with the difficulties that Amity faces, especially in those young teen years that are so difficult to navigate anyway.
Right.
I would
much focused on peer pressure at that time.
So, and teasing and bullying, and it's just, I personally would have found great solace in reading a book like this and saying, I'm not alone. I may be the only one in this group or in this school, because I was in a very small school growing up.
Yeah, me too.
but saying there are other people out there in the world like me would have definitely given me a sense of comfort. So thank you
You're welcome. I
for
hope it's the
finishing.
same for every single reader. I hope it's the same.
And guys, it's a beautiful coming of age story that is empowering to young women who may be struggling with something outside of their control. As we said, not just epilepsy, but anxiety or bulimia or anorexia or peer pressure and bullying in itself. And I want to mention that 5% of the proceeds from this book go to benefit the Epilepsy Foundation. So this book is really, it's not only a touching story, but it's going for a great cause as well.
I'm putting my money where my mouth is, if you pardon the phrase, but yeah, I wanted to give back in any way that I could. So this seemed like a really good way to do that. And each book is going to focus on giving back to a different charity. So the next book focuses on some body image issues. The main character is a dancer, but she is overweight and she feels like, you know, she must be the only one. And so she struggles a lot with dieting and feeling bad about her body. So those proceeds will go to a charity that I found that focuses on that. I have another book. The third book is about a young man whose brother commits suicide and his mother struggles with bipolar. So those proceeds will go to a nonprofit that is run by a woman that I knew growing up, and her son committed suicide. So she runs this nonprofit now, and I'm going to donate the proceeds to her nonprofit. So each book, I'm trying to find a nonprofit that would benefit from that.
That is amazingly, that is so fantastic. I never got to, I reconnected with my biological family, most of it. But sadly, I was not able to reconnect with my stepbrother who did. Yeah. Who's no longer with us.
I'm sorry.
So that's something that would be fantastic for you to donate to suicide prevention.
Yeah, and again, like these are heavy topics, but I feel like they're
Yes.
real topics that kids go through. And
They
why
are.
not? You know, I'm a big fan of Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, and he talks about that, or did, obviously.
Right.
But he talked about that kids go through and they see real things that are in the world and that are very tough to see and feel. And they're often confused by their feelings or scared of their feelings. And so he said, you know, it's important to talk about it honestly with kids, and let them know that they can feel their feelings, you know?
Right. And we're starting to get to a place now where we can do that more openly and more freely, because we have a greater understanding of things like epilepsy and bipolar and anxiety. Because you know, we haven't always understood these mental health challenges that people go through, because it's so difficult.
And that's honestly, you know, the series could probably go on forever, because you could always find some other thing that, you know, could be the main story that you're talking about. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, really, it's, you know, obviously mental health is huge, and that's what a lot of the focus is. But I mean, empathy in general, you know, lack of empathy, bullying, you know, all kinds of things, you know. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. I have 4 written already right now, and then I will potentially write more. We'll see. So.
That is amazing. Thank you. I mean, I personally, you know, thank you, because bullying is something that I had to go through, endure whenever I was younger, and it's not fun. It took me quite a while to put that behind me, and so
well, I'm glad. Thank you for being supportive. I'm excited to share it, honestly.
Yes, and guys, definitely check out the first in the series and keep an eye out for the rest of the books that are coming. But you also, not only are you an advocate for empathy and helping to expose people to a greater understanding of what other people may be going through, but you also write the fantasy series, the Elven Quest series as well.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that series?
Sure. I would love to. So my fantasy series, its main focus, a lot of it is sort of about the same thing. It's about bringing people of different backgrounds and cultures together to kind of fight a united evil, and also saving our planet, really saving the natural resources that we have. And I started writing it in 2007. Was right out of grad school, and somebody had recommended the Harry Potter series to me. And I said to them, "Isn't that a children's book?" And they were like horrified, like, no, it's not just for children, So you have to read it. So I did, and of course loved it, blew through them, read them multiple times. And that brought me back to my love of fantasy that I had when I was a child, that I really had sort of let go. My writing and my love of reading had taken a back seat. And so I started doing those things again. And I started thinking about, if I were to write my own fantasy book, what would I want to read? And that's when the characters from Elven Quest popped into my head. And here they are, right here. The trilogy.
Beautiful, beautiful covers, by the way.
So thank you. That's my cover artist, Claire. She's awesome. But so they kind of popped in, and I started imagining the storyline and all the characters, and I decided, instead of just letting this go, I'm going to do something about it. So I sat down every night after work with my laptop, and I just started writing, and that was the beginning. And then after that, it's become an addiction. I really can't stop. So it's gone on and on, but the whole story is about main character Isabel, who finds out that she is half elf. She's a half sea elf, and there are different kinds of elves that control the natural resources that we have, elemental magic. And at the time, there really wasn't a whole lot of books, I don't think, out there that focused on this topic. Now there are quite a few. But at the time, there really wasn't. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool to write a book, specifically about that? And so she goes through this journey. It's a hero's journey, bringing all the elves out of hiding and together, and forming bonds with the humans, who there was a lot of suspicion between the groups for a long time. And the elves were considered untrustworthy, and so they have to mend those relationships, build those bonds, and then fight this evil. And the evil happens to be run by her half sister, who she never knew existed. So
interesting. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I think it's a fun series. And I have, lucky to have a lot of readers that have already said the same, that they really were absorbed into her world as I was. So that's awesome to hear, that people are loving it as much as I loved writing it. And I miss them. It's crazy to say, but they became like friends. So
it is not crazy at all, because I feel the same way about my characters. And I think from talking with other authors, we're not alone in this. We get attached to our characters. They almost become like family, because the things that we put them through, and the joys that we give them, it's like, we're experiencing. It's hard to let them go.
It is.
sometimes.
It is. I know. And I wrote 7 of them already. I wrote the first trilogy is out now, and I just released, and this is the non-sale version, so ignore the gray bar. But I just released a compilation book of all 3.
I wanted to ask about that.
Save some cash, you can buy them all combined. And then I wrote a second trilogy as well in that same series. So it takes place 20 years later, and there's some similar characters, some different characters, but it's all in the same universe. And that one is pretty cool. I think it's different, very different. But I think it'll be good. So that'll be released, within the next couple of years, probably a little bit at a time. And then I wrote a prequel too, actually.
Oh, wow. So yeah, I wanted to ask about the compilation because I did see on Amazon that that you had all three of the books, and then the larger compendium, and I was wondering if it was all of them together or if it was an entirely different book. So you answered my preemptive question.
It is, yeah, and I was excited to do that. I didn't even know that was an option until really recently, and I thought, well, I need to do that. That's exciting. So, yeah.
So let everybody know because you write under two different pen names. So and I will have the links, guys, to all of Laura's books on Amazon, or her Amazon author page, in the description below. So definitely check those out. But for those who don't know the two names, would you like to tell us what two names you write under?
Sure. So the YA Freaking Unique series is under Ellie Labarge, which is my maiden name. And then the Elven Quest series is under Laura E. Thompson, which is my married name. So yeah, I felt like for Amity's story, because it was about me as a child, it felt right to use my maiden name. So I went back to use that. Yeah. I thought, it makes me connect even more to her character. So.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing Amity's story with us, and the Elven Quest series as well. But definitely guys, watch out for Freaking Unique and the series that follows, and what Laura has coming soon. So
yes, thank you so much for having me. It's been really fun.
It has been a blast. And guys, if you haven't already, make sure and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss more upcoming content, because hey, whenever the next book in the Freaking Unique series comes out, I may ask you to come back on. We can talk about it.
I'd love that. I'd love that.
Okay. All right,
Thank
guys,
you so much.
As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.